Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. Charlotte Gill is the channel. Only 1,320 subscribers. I mentioned the other day in another video how kids in schools. This is all what you're watching and witnessing and living through is all one big plan, right? Which, if you want to call it something, we'll call it the New World Order. Right, that's how it would most predominantly be known by people who've learned what's going on. And as I've put in a few videos at the start, we have George Bush there talking about a new world order, an order where the rule of law will govern the conduct of nations, not the law of the jungle. When we're successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order. A very famous speech, and many people think he's alluding to the elite's plan for the world, which is kind of documented, to be honest, in many ways, shapes, and forms, in books that you wouldn't read, to United Nations documents that you wouldn't read either, Agenda 30, things like this. So basically, everything's a big plan to rearrange the world into a different world now. We've passed the point in many ways. Like the population does need controlled and kept to a limit to sustain the planet in many ways through resources, and if we are affecting the climate. This is all the beliefs of the elites, and whether you believe it or not, they do. And if you go and watch even David Attenborough, there's a David Attenborough documentary about overpopulation, and in the middle of the documentary, it shows you David Attenborough giving this pitch to people in a big room. Well, he's pitching to the IMF and the World Bank and all the big wigs and the United Nations and telling them there's too many people on the planet. So the people who run the planet have plans for the planet, very big plans, and there's going to be the rich and there's going to be the peasants, and it's going to be very much George Orwell's 1984 in many ways. That was a warning from the man wasn't called George Orwell. That wasn't his real name. I'm not quite sure of his real name. But it was a warning of what was coming, really. It's like he knew the plans of the elites, which have been the plans of the elites for a very long time. They've just never really had the technology to pull any of this off, but now they have the technology. It's like this Online Safety Act and being able to quell dissent, and cameras everywhere and surveillance, and everything's recorded and logged, and this now is the time, so to speak. They didn't have these capabilities 100 years ago. There was no way of controlling the populations in the same way as they can today. So now is very much the time for the new world order, and it kind of feels like Britain's being fast tracked now, because the new world order is very much a multicultural society. There is no countries, therefore the people cannot be patriotic. That is against the new world order, nations and being patriotic. So all what you're seeing is, in order to bring forward the new world order, we have to destroy the old, and we have to destroy not just the old world, but the mentality in people's minds of the old world. So all this patriotism and loving England and everything, it's not what they want. Even the king, a lot of people can't grasp. If you watch Paz 49, ex-army, a lot of these people can't grasp that the king's completely in on this plan for the new world order. The king is very much in on this plan. He's a member of the elites, and he too is selling, just as the Queen did. It just wasn't the end game, and the Queen was selling us down the river. We're being sold down the river, and the New World Order there will be no countries, because if there's no countries, there can be no wars. So out of the Third World War, which will probably happen, will come the notion that we need a world government, so we can't have another war because war's too horrific of the damage and the death that it causes. And the cry, it's problem, reaction, solution, to be honest. And anyone with any brains, I was watching, what's he called? I forgot his name. Blah, 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 blah. Russell Brand. I was watching Russell Brand yesterday. I think I posted it in the comments. He's a very clever fella, to be honest. Whether you like him or not and believe he's a sex offender or not, he's still a very clever fella. And anybody who's clever can see what's happening, really, and why it's happening, and why they're trying to do the Online Safety Act and what that's really about, and how it all connects together. It's little things mean big things, but all these little things ultimately come together to form one big plan. And division and chaos is, I mean, one of the orders, one of the mottos of the Illuminati, if that's what you want to call them, is order out of chaos. So there you go. They actually want chaos in England because they can bring in more rules and more laws to lock us all down, and it's all justified, as I've said before. And yeah, it's all justified because you're kicking off and you're wrecking stuff and you're breaking stuff and you're breaking laws and you're causing chaos. So it's justified to bring in more rules. Constantly getting messages here. Um, so this video anyway. Why have children been making Valentine cards for asylum seekers? So, as I've mentioned in a previous video, children in schools are being indoctrinated into the new system. Like, it's no kind of surprise. A lot of these left wingers, you see, are sort of young 20 year olds in that region, because this programming for people started long ago in the schools, and it's been your kids have been um, programmed with propaganda for over 20 years at this point, with transgender and all this sort of stuff. It's been going for a long time here, and you get the kids, and they know this is an age-old tactic. So they're trying to get the kids here with the asylum seekers and the migrants, the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, and Valentine's cards being made to the immigrants. And I'll play the video. It's yet again another scandal, to be honest.
Why have children been making Valentine's cards for refugees? That's what I've recently stumbled upon from a charity called City of Sanctuary UK. This charity wants the UK essentially to become a place, a nation of sanctuary. And sanctuary has become the new trendy term when talking about asylum seekers, illegal migrants. They're now referred to as sanctuary seekers by a lot of Labour councils. Many of them are becoming boroughs of sanctuary. And there are also universities of sanctuary and groups of sanctuary and nurseries and schools of sanctuary. In fact, according to City of Sanctuary UK's website, there are over 1,200 schools and nurseries taking part in the Schools of Sanctuary scheme. And one of the ways they were encouraged to show their solidarity with sanctuary seekers is through creating hearts decorated and also Valentine's cards. And in one case, a school was creating a big Valentine's card and it was going to be given to refugee recipients. And City of Sanctuary UK makes clear that they can either display these cards in a public place in school or somewhere else in your community, or even ask a local refugee organisation if they can share them with people seeking sanctuary. And remember, these seem to be a lot of male economic migrants now, the kinds that we are seeing taking up a lot of hotel space, responsible for some terrible crimes, some involving children, and yet this scheme was taking place. So this came out in January 2024, the Valentine scheme, and a lot of schools took part in it, and it's all over Schools of Sanctuary's X feeds. And some of these messages they've written are so political in nature too. There's one that says, "Stop the Rwanda scheme." Others say, "I love."
I mean, it's a scandal, really. And yeah, they indoctrinate the kids and get the kids when they're young, and this is where all this transgender shit's come from, to be honest, and all this fucking woke shit, and it gets taught in the schools. And another part of it is it creates generational gaps, generational divisions, and yeah, like why parents and the kids don't see eye to eye politically. And it's a lot to do with what they were taught in schools, to be honest. And again, this is known and done on purpose, so that it's like another reason. Women used to stay at home and look after the home and the children, and the children were better behaved when this was the case, and that the father went out to work and made the money, and families could survive on that. The woman didn't need to go to work because the family could survive on the man's wage. But they made again with the economy, they made us poorer, so the woman had to go out to work. And it was nothing to do with women's liberation, nothing at all, because the people in charge don't give two shits about women's liberation. It was everything to do with you bringing in more tax and being. Say there's 50 million people in the country, and 25 million are male and 25 million are female, and only 25 million of them are working. Well, that's only 25 million tax. Well, if you can get the women to go to work, that's double your 50 million in your tax here, more money. So it was nothing to do with women's liberation and women having rights or anything at all. Like that, that's all fucking what they sold you the package of. But it was all bullshit. It was all about getting you into work, being a doubling the tax revenue and breaking up the home and sending the kids without the parentage. Kids went more off the rails at times, and they fucked up the family unit. It also led to divorces, sending women into workplaces full of men. Led to there being a lot more affairs, which led up to the breakup of marriages, which again. So all this was part of the plan, because it's all part of breaking down everything that we used to know, so to speak, and love and cherish and behold, and it's all to go for the new world order. This is none of this is again nationalism and all this crack and patriotism. None of this is for the new world order, because it doesn't fit in anymore for the world that these people are trying to build. And society, we're having a big societal shift basically, and they don't tell you about these societal shifts, they just do them, and you've got to live through them, if you live through them, depending on how bad it gets. It's as in like the Second World War, it decimated Europe, and we come round and we rebuild, do you know what I mean, and we rebuild in a new way. Like the world moved forward after the Second World War, so to speak, in democracy was and liberty was the kind of the way forward here for a while, for quite a while. It's kind of not now. It's now seems to be the way of the sword again. It's the way of the sword. Like we seem to a war's coming back round. It would very much seem. The anger and political violence, like it's all peaking and building just very much as it did before the Second World War. The similarities. Well, there's a lot of similarities. So anyhow, refugees' rights. I love refugee rights. Is one banner we've got here, clearly done by a kid.
Refugee rights. Schools and nurseries take part in Schools of Sanctuaries, the scheme run by City of Sanctuary UK. Now, I've been exposing this on X for a couple of months now, and it's also on my Substack. If you want to follow that and support independent journalism, support me digging into issues such as this that the public have no idea about. And what's happened?
Yeah, I mean the amount of things that the public have no idea about. It's all the little notches in the plan, so to speak. That's all the little things that all together make one big plan. And because you don't know about the little individual events and don't know what the ultimate plan is, you're not putting two and two together here. But should you learn what the plan is. Well, you can see this plan coming about every day, to be honest, every day, every week, every month, for a long time. It's all falling into place, and you're being hoodwinked, to be honest. You're being hoodwinked into a future you would never agree to, is kind of what's happening.
Is I've been blocked by City of Sanctuary, and I've also been blocked by Schools of Sanctuary, and now Schools of Sanctuary and another scheme called Birmingham Schools of Sanctuary. So this is technically the same scheme, but it's a different branch of Schools of Sanctuary. They have put their tweets on protected mode. Now, as far as I can see, the boroughs and City of Sanctuary schemes taking places in schools, councils, wherever, they should be transparent. They're so proud of this content on the website and what they're doing. They really are very moralistic people, and yet when one of the few journalists to really expose what's going on and highlight it, the slightest bit of the spotlight on them, they go into protected mode. And the word,
Of course they do, because they know what they're doing, but they don't want the public to know what they're doing, because again, people start to figure out what the fuck's going on here, and that's the last thing in the world they want. So it's on the British people now, to be honest. I mean, it's on the people of the world, to be honest. This is a new world order. It's on the people of the world to figure this out in time, but predominantly at the moment, there seems to be a fast track here in England and the Online Safety Act, where now, unbelievably, yeah, this is what people maybe can't sort of fathom as well, or haven't grasped the scope of what's going on here. Unbelievably, the United Kingdom, England, this apparently this great place of liberty, these people who ended the slave trade, who liberty and democracy is the forerunner. We just had Trump there talking to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister barefaced lied to him about censorship and private and all this crack. Yeah, England is the one who's brought in the Online Safety Act that ultimately it's got nothing to do with children. Yet again, another tell the public one thing while we completely do the opposite. And that's kind of how fucking cheesy this is all is at times. It's like the public are that stupid and blind and fucking too busy fucking going down the fucking toilet with the rest of the country to notice that they're being lied to constantly. But they can't put two and two together to realise where all these lies go. And the beauty of it is that everything that everybody's lost in will be gone when we get where we're going. It's like the world that these people plan. You will not like it, and everything that you love, everything that you're lost in, they're going to take it all away, and there'll be nothing left, and you'll be stuck in this horrible world of being a slave, where if you do not do as you're told, you will not be allowed to have a car or play on your computer. Or, I mean, so I posted a video in the community yesterday from oh Christ, I can't remember the name of the channel, but he was on about the Online Safety Act and how in China kids are only allowed to play on the computer for an hour a day, and it's all done through ID cards, and all this is coming. All this is coming to every country in the world, where if you do not behave and be a good slave to the state, that will never, never be questioned and never be brought down. It will be in control forever. You will be put in room 101, or things will be removed from your life that you like your car or your phone or your computer or your telly or anything they want to take off you as punishment. They will. And that's the world that's coming. And when it's here, everybody's going to hate it. And the older you are, the more you remember the world that we had, the more you will hate the world that's coming. So the children who are indoctrinated into this now in schools will play ball with the new world because they've been indoctrinated into it very early on, and they don't remember the old world. There'll be less resistance. So ultimately as well, the thing is, they don't want us old people. They don't want us. They want rid of us before all this can really, really take fruition. They need rid of us old world people. And there is very much plans to get rid of us as well with what's coming, be it civil war, economic collapse, World War III, poverty and starvation. There is very much plans to get rid of us in the not so distant future, and the kids will be protected as they often are, and people won't think twice about the kids being protected and fed ahead of themselves. The kids will survive, and they will then be indoctrinated, or not, they already have been indoctrinated. They will build the new world order, and very, very few of us old worlders will survive who remember the old world, not enough to form any sort of resistance to bring the old world back. And we move forward forever in this new world order where everyone's basically a slave, but your descendants, your children, your grandchildren will not know any different, and their every descendant from then on of them will never know any different, and that will be the world that will always be their world. And that's the plan, and it's a very good plan from the elites once enacted, and once they've got where they're going and got rid of all the old worlders of like us who don't want to play a ball and know what happened and know what the world was like when we were free and we used to have fun, and every facet of our lives wasn't controlled by the government. When we're all gone, they can plough on with their plans, and nobody will say boo, or very few people will say boo, and then eventually they will die out, and then nobody will say boo. And that's the plan. And you're about to watch it really take place now. I've known this for 15 to 20 years. It's been slowly creeping and creeping and creeping and creeping towards us every single day for all this time. But now and I used to say to people, when we get where we're going, you cannot not notice what's going to happen, because the change in the world will be so dramatic that forget from A to B, there is no way you cannot notice what's going to happen here. So nobody will escape. Like, that's the beauty of it. Nobody will escape. If the economy collapses, we will all suffer. If a World War III happens, we will all suffer. If there's civil war in England, we will all suffer. And all these things are very, very strong possibilities, but we will all suffer in the quest for the new world order. We will all suffer, and that's why they know people won't play ball. So that's why they're doing it by force and by cloak and dagger. To be honest, it's all sort of cloak and dagger, and again, it's all being done by like the Club of Rome and the Bilderberg Group and all these entities who all the big people are in, that we don't get to hear what they're talking about or what they're up to, and this is what they're up to be honest. They're creating a new world, with, I mean, and the peasants as well, like the average English yobbo football kind of fan, if you everybody can picture what I'm sort of imagining. There'll be none of them people anymore. You will not be allowed alcohol, and football might even be abolished in the New World Order, because football causes conflict. Anything that causes conflict will be removed. There'll be no political, so it's a one world government. There'll be no other political parties at any time ever to challenge the rule that is in place. Anything that causes conflict will be removed. Football and sports can cause conflict between rival fans. So there's a very strong possibility that football and sports will be removed from the world at this point. Um, it's all part of the whole point that we've have these football teams now. If you look deeply into it, was all sort of written about. I think maybe H.G. Wells wrote about football teams and people being tribalistic and big stadiums long before we started kind of doing it. It was wrote about, and how to turn people sort of tribalistic and like worship the football teams instead of God, and turn idols as well, like the people, false idols, the football players. So people don't understand, but the entire world is a plan. The world's a stage is a very famous saying. The entire world's a plan born long ago, and it's to get from A to B. But to get from A to B took well over 100 years, and was a well thought out. I mean, I've said it many a time. If you've got to take your hats off to the elites and the Illuminati, if that's what you want to call them, for the plan, because it's. I mean, most of the world don't even know that this is happening. That's the beauty of this plan. Most of the world do not believe or do not know that this is happening, and that everything is being orchestrated to take us to a certain place. That place being a new world order, and everything George Bush said in the speech, and a place where the rule of law governs the conduct of nations, not the law of the jungle. So you've got to sort of look into what the plans are, and I don't know. I learned all this a long time ago, and it's due to the internet censorship that we're in this day and age, and getting worse. It kind of all got removed from the internet. A lot of stuff fell. A lot of stuff got removed that I watched documentaries, all sorts back in the day. A lot of it was removed. I noticed through the years. So I don't know because they don't want you to know any of this. That's the beauty. Like they don't want you to know their plan and how they're gonna enact this plan, because then you can start to see it every day why they do certain things. Like people can't understand why certain things happen, and people would do such a thing because there's no logic to it if you were serving the country or serving the people, because none of these people are serving the country or the people. They're serving the elites, and have took a vow to enact the new world order for the elites, and in doing so they will be looked after both now and if they make it through to the new world order, if because they will be protected through the bagwash. Should they make it through, they'll be looked after in the new world order. In the new world, they will not be one of these people who, if you do something wrong, will remove your car or remove your phone, or you know what I mean. They won't be in this. There's going to be two sides to the fence here. The side of the fence that can do whatever the fuck they want, whenever the fuck they like, anywhere they want, and then our side of the fence, the peasants, who can't do anything we want whenever we want, and if we're not a good little slave, we get things took off us, and we can only live in a certain place, and we can't travel and go on holiday, but they can, and this is how they this is their vision for the world that they believe to be their world, because they own everything and we own nothing. So we can work all the machines for them while they live in the lap of luxury, is the plan. And you maybe won't see it yet, but that is the plan. When the after all the bagwash that's going to come, because there's bagwash going to come, and a lot of it, that's what the world will look like when they're finished. And that could be 10 years away, maybe more. But that's the plan, the new world order, one world government, two sides to the fence, rich and the poor. And getting there is long road, a long road with many obstacles that these people have to get around. But they're starting to make moves, real moves, in putting this new world order together. And multiculturalism is a massive part of it, breaking down nations and patriotism and nationalism. So that's what you're seeing as well. You're seeing, and again, that a lot of what's happening as well is they're outing with all these protests. We're outing all the patriots, and they're all there. The police are out there with all the cameras recording everybody, because they're recording all the dissenters and the patriots before. Again, you could eventually be in room 101 for our beliefs. Do you know what I mean? But again, if a civil war comes and a third world war, a lot of us won't be here to protest against any of this in the aftermath. So there's a lot of bagwash to come, to be honest. Not to scare anybody, but yeah, in order to get to the new world order, we have to crack a few eggs. I'll leave it there. Peace.